What up, family? It's your favorite cousin, your favorite uncle, your favorite nephew, your favorite brother, your favorite father, your best friend's best friend. It's me, Dr. Larry, and welcome to Living For You, the YouTube channel. This is a safe space, a positive place in which we come together, we grow together, we discuss things together, and we become better present people together at this place, Living For You. I am Dr. Larry Smith. For those of you who have continually followed me for the year and so that we've been going, thank you. I appreciate you. Our family is growing as we speak. It grows every week and it keeps growing, which I am blessed and thankful for. So thankful to you all, my family, my new family. Welcome to the channel. I love you. You're here. You've decided to subscribe, so that means you chose to be here, and so I am honored to have you. So welcome to the family. Those of you who are watching in the periphery, I know that you guys are watching. In fact, I've looked at my analytics and all that stuff, and it shows that more people watched than are subscribed. What does that mean? That means all of you who actually take the time to watch the videos might as well subscribe and hit the notification. I'll give you a moment. Go ahead and do it. Join the family. It's a positive place. It's a safe space. It's a place where we're going to be positive. One of the very few positive places you can find on the internet. So welcome to Living For You. If you want to know more about me, Dr. Larry Smith, I am a certified licensed spiritual coach. I am a certified licensed life coach. I am a historian, academic, educator, a whole lot of stuff, entrepreneur. You can find out more about me at www.liveforyoucoaching.com. That's www.liveforyoucoaching.com, and you can learn more about me, more about what I provide, my businesses, and so forth. And if you want to follow me just on a day-to-day basis, when you see me go to the gym or see me talk about a book or see me respond to something in the media immediately, you can actually go to my Instagram or my Facebook page at Dr. Larry Smith on both Instagram and on Facebook, and you can kind of keep up with me and follow me and, you know, kind of tickle and just understand what's going on in my mind. That's more of my personal stuff. So that's Dr. Larry Smith on both Instagram and on Facebook. So I wanted to get on today to come talk to my family because we suffered a traumatic loss. It is the end of an era. My favorite YouTube couple, Dearra Taylor and Ken Walker, aka Dearra and Ken, aka DK4L, has called it quits. Yes, I can say honestly, I was a member of the DK gang. What do I mean by that is I followed them for the years. I've watched them grow and progress and be successful and be on Tyler Perry movies and make money and expand as people and grow as humans from teenagers, you know, pretty much teenagers, late teens, and grow into becoming more of an adult. But unfortunately, they called it quits, or they're calling it quits. I don't think there's been an official announcement, but they did post a video the other day about having separate videos, doing separate things. That's just a way of trying to soften the blow of the many of us DK family who were rooting for them, who were following them, who were looking at them as relationship goals, wanted them to succeed, saw ourselves in them in our relationships, and just enjoyed sharing that journey with them. And so they softened the blow by saying they're just doing separate YouTube channels. However, we know what that leads to. So more than likely, they're calling it quits after I think about 8 years in a relationship. So here, I know there's many channels out there that you can go to on YouTube right now and find out all the scandalous details and want to dive into why they broke up and all of these rumors and stuff. That's not what we do here. We're a channel we're a positive place. We're a safe space, and so we don't really dive into that type of gossip. But I want to get on today and kind of homage to those two and talk about relationships, i.e. relationship goals. What we look for, what we bring, why we bring it, and how to sustain it if possible. Now, I will be honest. I can't sit up here and say, oh yeah, I'm a relationship expert because I've been in a relationship for 35 plus years and I know what it's like to be with the same person forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. My longest actual relationship was only 11 years, right? Followed by one that was 7, followed by others that were shorter. My shortest relationship lasted well over a year, but my longest was 11 years. So that's my experience in relationships. But I learned each experience about what I brought to the relationship. Now notice what I said. I didn't say I learned how to deal with somebody else and what they bring. I said I learned about what I brought to the relationship. I learned about myself. I learned how to better myself through the relationship, because a lot of times we go into these relationships and when they're over, we tend to blame the other person. Well, X, Y, and Z did so-and-so, and they did this, and they did this, and that's why we called it quits. I'm not the type of person to lay all the blame of a relationship collapsing on the other person. I'll actually rather share the blame, because just like a relationship takes two people to build it, a relationship takes two people to break it apart. That is just the way it is. Now, we might not have the same things that we're contributing to break it apart, but at the end of the day, all relationships take at least two people involved in the relationship to break it apart as well as keep it together. Both have to want the same thing. And it seems like Dearra Ken, according to the last video, are in a positive place, with the decision that they've made. But at the end of the day, for us who follow them, it is a loss, because we look to them as a healthy relationship, black, young, healthy, thriving, prosperous relationship via the internet that was kind of making headways for us, right? That there is hope for love, there is hope for black love, there is hope for relationships. But I think it's important that we examine ourselves, our own personal intuition and our own personal feelings. Don't go into a relationship for the sake of, I need somebody. You really only need yourself. That person that you get in a relationship with should complement who you are. So if you can't go into a relationship being 100% yourself, then you can't go into a relationship and be completely happy. That person should accept you 100%, and you should accept that person 100%. Now, does that mean accepting each other's flaws? Yes. However, know your boundaries. So say, for example, if you get into, you start meeting a person, you're talking, and that person says, well, I believe in open relationships. I'm not one who's in support of monogamy. I believe monogamy is a social construct, and I believe that we should be able to have multiple relationships at once. If you are a person that's cool with, then you're cool, right? You can work your way and have that open, polyamorous, polygamous, whatever relationship that you're trying to have. However, if you are a person who is not cool with that, and you state that up front, then you have to make a determination whether or not this is the relationship for you. It might not be, because y'all not on the same page as it relates to what y'all expect out of a relationship. You expect monogamy, they expect to have more than one partner. So that might be something that you're not willing to accept in them. Same thing with somebody who has a quick temper, or somebody who spends a lot of money and doesn't think about tomorrow. They just spend, or they get upset about everything, or irritated about everything. You may not want to partner with somebody like that, because that might not be something that you feel gels and cements with what you're trying to do. These are things you should notice. And a lot of people have called these red flags. And I believe in the idea of a red flag. Red flag means stop, green flag means go. But sometimes we count more green flags in a person when we're getting to know them than we count their red flags. And I'm not saying go into any situation with a negative perception, with a negative expectation, just thinking everything's going to be crap and it's not going to be good. Do not go into anything with that kind of logic, because you're going to attract what you're getting. Go into expecting and thinking about what you want, the things that you desire for yourself. However, don't be so blinded and drunk by your desires and your fantasy that you don't pay attention to the red flags that are presented in front of you. So yes, you're going to have to work on coming together with two different persons, two different spirits, two different experiences and histories. But at the end of the day, if it's not anything that is a non-negotiable, then you can work with that and you can balance each other out. And in some instances, you can teach each other about what they may need. So say if you're a person who likes to spend money and you meet somebody who's more frugal, you can learn from each other. The person who's more frugal can learn to live a little bit and not be so uptight, because that could be based on their experiences growing up in poverty and a whole lot of things. And so they can learn to be a little bit more liberal when it comes to spending the money. And the person who is too liberal spending the money can learn to be a little more conservative and a little more frugal. They may come from a situation in which they never had to worry about money, or in which they never had to count money, and they could just spend. Not everybody's life experience is like that. So they can learn from each other. So while you're accepting people's differences, if they're differences that you're able to move forward with, then you also can use those differences to learn from each other and can grow with each other. Another thing is decide early on what are the non-negotiables that's going to put an end to the relationship. I think sometimes we go into relationships with the mindset of forever. Hopefully most of us are in that place. However, there are many of us who go into a relationship with the mindset of forever, but we don't put in parameters. We don't put in boundaries. Everything needs boundaries. Why? Because there have to be things that shouldn't occur for your comfort and for the person you're with, their comfort. There are certain things that you just say, okay, this is just not something that I would tolerate for my person. Because one of the things going into a relationship is you have to have your own self-respect, your own self-love. So there are clearly going to be boundaries that you don't want crossed and to affect your peace, your self-love, your self-worth. And so from the beginning, begin to let your partner, your significant other know these are things that if these occur in a relationship, it's a no-go for me. And don't waver from it. Don't bend, So say if infidelity is your thing, that you will not accept infidelity from anybody in a relationship, then you have to have a hard line on that. But nope, this is not, if this happens, the relationship is done, because this isn't what I want in my life. This isn't one of the experiences that I want, and this will disrupt my peace. And make that cemented and agree upon it. If you both can agree upon it, then you set the contract and you set the boundaries, and therefore those being crossed are a motivation to leave the relationship. Now, I'm not saying infidelity is a total dead kill for everybody. Everybody has their different limits and their different boundaries. But whatever your boundaries are, set them, let the person you're getting with know, and hopefully y'all can work them together so that those boundaries aren't crossed and the relationship can thrive and go on forever. A big portion of relationship control, maintenance, is communication. Not just communication in the way we talk. Like, you can have a partner and y'all can talk about everything all the time. That is a form of communication. But what I mean when I say communication, I mean meaningful communication. There are some relationships that they can talk about everything under the sun, from popular culture to politics to the weather to what's going on in the world to their family to all these things. But when it comes to the deep conversations about them and what needs to happen within their experience with each other, they can't talk about. It doesn't happen like that. And the reason why it doesn't happen like that is simply because hard conversations are hard conversations. And so many times people in relationships have a hard time dealing with hard conversations. And that's a problem, because hard conversations and hard situations are going to happen in relationships, period. There's no way of avoiding it. I don't care how long you're together, you're going to come up with a hard time in a hard situations because you're growing. Doesn't mean you're growing together. You could be, one person can be growing faster than the other person, or you could be growing in the same direction, but just in different ways. And so a meaningful conversation every so often about where each of you is at that moment needs to happen. Because you will have a situation where one person in the relationship is not happy and the other person in the relationship is, and they don't even know about it. Or you might have a situation where both parties are unhappy and they don't know about it, or both parties are happy about the relationship and they don't know about it. Either way, these are conversations that need to be had so that you guys can remain on the same page. And this doesn't matter what type of relationship you have, whether it's man on man, girl on girl, girl on guy, trans woman on trans man on cis woman, cis man on trans woman, whatever type of relationship you have got going on. And even if it's polyamorous, we'll speak to those two. You have to have the conversations about the relationship in a meaningful way. What is it? How you feel in it? And how do you feel the future on it? Every so often to keep it fresh, because you could be on different pages and not even know. Communication is a biggie. It builds the foundation, right? We know about the things like trust and honesty and loyalty and all these things, but communication is just as important as trust, honesty, and loyalty, in my opinion. Because if we can't talk about anything deeper, then how do we resolve problems when they arrive? Do we just avoid them? Do we just, you go your way, I go my way, and we don't talk about the problem? that is a surefire way for a relationship to end, because you're not able to talk about things when things get deep. And like I said, in life, things will get deep sometimes. It just is what it is. And then my last portion of relationship advice, conversation that we're having here is leave people out of your mess and your stuff. What do I mean when I say that? Well, in Dearra and Ken's case, and in a lot of people's case, their lives are plastered all over this thing, social media. Every little detail. And you get buzzed, and especially if you're on social media, like Dearra and Ken, everybody has an opinion about what you should and should not do, what you should and should not take, and how you should and should not handle certain situations. And what happens is you're just hearing buzzing, blah, 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 all over the place. And you don't know what to do. But what happens is it exposes you to multiple opinions, and it exposes your relationship. Not everybody's rooting for you to be successful. There's a reason why I don't post everything I'm doing or everything I'm working on or everything I got going on online, because not everybody's on my team. I was scrolling down my videos and I saw that there were some comments, some dislike buttons here. So there are obviously people who dislike me, who dislike my videos. And guess what? I'm okay with that. That's not going to change me, because I show up authentically, I show up present, and I realized a long time ago that you're not everybody's cup of tea. Here's what it is. I don't intend to be liked by everybody, and I don't intend for everybody to enjoy me. It just is what it is. It's part of the game that comes with this situation. But what happens is when you expose your most sensitive, your most important aspects of your life out there, you give people the ability to critique and to put out there how they feel about your stuff. And if you're a person who's not strong, that's going to affect you. So if you're in a relationship and you're both not strong, this is going to affect your relationship. You know, Dearra and Ken were a relationship goals, but they also were targets, because not everybody want to see a healthy relationship between young people, or a strong relationship where they actually like each other and have fun together. Not everybody is excited about that. And there are going to be people who are going to intentionally come for you and try to dismantle your relationship, especially when they know you're in a relationship. If they don't know your relationship, sometimes like when people know you, when people think you're single, they don't come for you and come as hard on you and try to get in your DMs and whisper in your ear and try to get your attention. But when they know you're in a relationship, it becomes a goal for some of them to try to disrupt whatever you got going on in your relationship. So a big chunk of my advice is stay off of the social media, stay off of the public forum, leave your friends and family and people who ain't got nothing to do with you and your significant other relationship out of it. Don't tell mama this about your partner. Don't tell your best friend. Keep that between y'all. And if it gets to a point where y'all conversation can't work, go see somebody trained to help y'all build that conversation, i.e. a therapist or a relationship coach. Somebody who's not going to have a side to pick. Somebody who's not going to say, hey, you need to break up with this person. That's not a therapist or a coach's job to tell you what to do with your life. They just give you the tools. We just give you the tools so that you start making decisions that are best for your best present life. And so, so communicate that way. Communicate with each other. And if you can't communicate, go seek professional help to help you guys build communication or to better communicate with one another, because that's important. That is your unit to build. And if you do these things, you will work through problems. That's not, like I said, it is impossible about any relationship to say you will never have problems. You will. It's not about having the problems. It's about how you work your way through the problems and how you come on the other side of the problems. Are you still healthy and whole and happy together? Or is there animosity, angst, anxiousness, upset, and unresolved issues that happen? How are you dealing with it? Problems have to be dealt with. They can't be avoided, but at the end of the day, it's about how you deal with the problems, not just dealing with the problems. So keep your stuff off social media. Communication is a big deal. Know what to expect and set your own boundaries and discuss those boundaries with your partner. And of course, know what you accept and what you will and won't accept in a relationship, and set the parameters as to what the expectations should be in a relationship. Yes, it's a terrible thing that Ken and Dearra are breaking up. Can't control everybody, or potentially breaking up. I don't know. Allegedly, potentially, I don't know what's going on, but it seems as though they've broken up. And if that's the case, you know, yes, we were rooting for you both and would love to see a resolution somehow. But if there is no resolution and this is what's best for both of you, then we just all have to accept it, just like you have to accept it. It's your life. But we like to see love, black love, thrive and continue to go on. But we hope that their example can be an example to us watching and to others watching, that, you know, you can have something and you can work on it. And if it doesn't work, then you have to do what's best for you in the long run. And that's what's important. Your health, your whole, your peace is more important than anything out there. And that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. You guys already know. I want to touch on it because this did affect me, and I know if it affected me, it affected a lot of you out there, because you're in these YouTube streets and you watching these YouTube figures. And know that not everything you see on YouTube for some people is real. Some of it is made up. People would always show you the best of what they got going on and never give you the real nitty-gritty sometimes. But this is a nitty-gritty moment that we may just have to digest and accept as followers, as family of the DK4L gang and family, and we're growing, all right? And we're going to go on and support them in many ways on their own platforms. But, you know, it was a good ride while it was there. As I always say, thank you for coming here, sitting with me, talking with me, chatting with me, growing with me. This is a positive place, a safe space on the internet, where there's very few places like that. And as I always say, I love you with the love of Christ and all of the powerful love that they possibly can be on this planet. And I will see you in the next video.